Hey, you've probably been hearing a lot about AI agents lately, like Manus, GenSpark, Claude Code, and CoWork from our friends at Anthropic, which is part of the Claude brand. And maybe you thought, that sounds useful, but is it really something for me? Or is it something that I can do, not being a developer or coder or overly techie person? That's a fair question. So let me break it down, and then I'm going to show you exactly how it works. I'm Lee from DigiNav Compass, and here is a simple version. You've probably used AI chatbots before. You type a question and you get an answer. This could be in chat, in Gemini, in Claude, any of them. But CoWork is different because it's what's called an AI agent, which means that instead of talking to you or having that back and forth conversation, it can actually do things on your computer. Organize files, work with spreadsheets, handle repetitive, time consuming tasks, things that you normally do yourself, click by click. Think of it like a virtual assistant or a teammate that is sitting at your desk. You tell it what you need in plain English. It does the work on your actual files. And this is the important part. It asks you first before it acts. So you stay in control the whole time. Why is CoWork and these AI agents so helpful? Because it does save you time and energy, and you don't need to be overly technical to use it. It's simple, it's easy, and you can do it. You can do it. So, one thing to remember is that a lot of times you have to have a paid account. With CoWork, you have to have a pro or higher account to use it. And the second thing is, while you are learning or getting the gist of it, you want to make sure that you have a backup of your files, your folders, or whatever you're working on, because it does make changes. It will ask you beforehand, but it does make changes. So until you get a little comfortable, don't hesitate making a duplicate of a file before you ask it to change, or a duplicate of the folder, or a backup of whatever, because that's your safety net. And once you have your safety net, I think you feel a little more comfortable making things happen. So here we go. I'm going to show you how I took a bunch of files in my Midjourney folder and made changes to the name so that it is easier for me to sort through, easier to recognize what the image purpose is, and I'm eventually going to use it in another AI process, and so I needed to get this nailed down first. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so on the left side of my screen, you'll see my file system. And these are at the top files that I have already had CoWork renamed for me. And these are files that I just added because when I do my Midjourney creation, I do it in batches. So I actually have a project where I give it an idea, it helps me do some creative direction, and then it gives me some prompts to try, and then I work with that. So a lot of times when I'm creating images, I'm batch creating, 30, 40, 50, and then picking the best ones of the bunch, which then I download to this folder. But as you can see from the file name, it's great at the beginning because it kind of gives you like a recap of the prompt, but then it adds these numbers on it, and sometimes it's just hard to funnel through that many images. So in CoWork, because you can have a conversation with it before you start to ask it to do something, I had said, I have this folder, I need to rename them. Well, first I said, I have this folder, I want to categorize them, because in my mind, I thought categorizing would be the best way to make this work. But then I told Claude what I wanted to do with it, and eventually it's going to be used in a process where The agent is going to look at my draft, and then it's going to go to my Midjourney folder, and it's going to find the best match for image. So it said, like, you don't want to categorize these. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and just like keep one running list of it. So I was like, okay. And then the second thing, and this is what it said, was, should I preserve the Midjourney file names? And I was like, yeah, because I want to be able to have that file name if I need to go back, maybe recreate the image in a different format or a different ratio, or maybe I wanted to look at the initial prompt and maybe tweak that up. So I thought that was a great suggestion. And so what it did was it gives me a log. It changes the name. When it changes the name, it gives me the original, and then it keeps the other in a CSV file that I can search. So it said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give it an SEO friendly name, and it recommended the format, and we're going to preserve the name in a log file. And then it was like, what should we do about the categories? So I was like, that's fine. And I explained it to it, and it said, you can either do option A or option B. Option A is a flat folder with richer file names, or option B is to keep the categories and the names, but it's going to take a little more when you want to do something with it. It's especially if you're searching. Like if you are searching, and I didn't even think about this at the beginning, was if I have everything in categories, rather than looking at a list or doing a keyword search, I now have to figure out which category it's in. So that was a great suggestion on CoWork's or Claude's part, because you need to define your parameters, and then you need to come up with a game plan, and then you need to enact that game plan. So it's a 3-step process. It's an easy process, but if you do it that way, so first is have a conversation about what the expectations are. What do you want this process to look like and to happen? And then the second part is to do the blueprint. This is how we're going to name the files. This is how we're going to categorize the files. This is how we're going to sort the files. This is what we're going to do with them in the future. And then the roadmap is actually letting it do its thing. So I went ahead and did that. And then through the conversation, I was like, okay, what do I do now? I'm going to keep adding to this. So how do I keep up with this? And it was like, here's what you do. You download the images into the folder, and when you have a batch, you come back and say process new images, and then they'll name them and they'll look at the log in the file. So we're going to go ahead, and we're in CoWork. So new task in CoWork. And when you're first starting, you'll see it's like, let's knock something off of the list. And this is if you're kind of not sure where to start, right? So you can create a file, you can analyze data, you can make a prototype, draft a message, etc., organize files. So I already have this set up, and it told me what to do. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Process new images, and then work in a folder. And so since I already have some folders attached, I'm going to tell it to work in Midjourney. Now, the good thing about CoWork is that it asks your permission before it does anything. So should we allow Claude to change the files? Now, if you're just starting out and you've not worked in a folder before, and I just picked Midjourney as new, are we allowed to access this folder? But in this case, it already has the permission to do it. So I'm just going to click allow, and then I'm going to click let's go. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at what it needs to do. It already has the parameters for redefining it, and you will see that now it is doing its thing, right? So it's looking at the files, it's figuring out which ones need to be processed, and then it's going to go ahead and rename them. Now, this is the part that you want to keep the eye on, because those are the ones that are eventually going to be renamed as it goes through. So I'm just going to let it do its thing. So you'll see here, it says, I see you have 20 new files to process, and it knows that to start, when it's going to look, it's looking at the Lee Drozak underscore as the parameter to search. And then it says, let me set up a task and start the processing. So once you set it up, if you have something that's recurring, it remembers what you did, and then it goes ahead and it redoes it. It's like if you have a team member who you want to maybe categorize something every day or do inbox triage every day. You don't have to constantly remind them what to do. They just know to do it, unless you're changing the parameter and you tell them this is what's going to be different this time. It's the same concept as this. So as you'll see, it's working through. It takes a few minutes. I mean, it's doing the work for you. Now, it's not going to take that much time. So what it's doing is it is looking at the file names, it is looking at the metadata, and it's figuring out how to rename these files based on what's in here. So thinking, okay, now it's saying I viewed all the images, now it's time to rename them and update the log. I'm adamant that it keeps the log only because if something would happen to the image, I can also go back and pull that image. So you'll see here now, you're going to see all of these start to disappear because what it's doing is it's going in and renaming those files for us. So one by one, it's going through, it's renaming, it's adding it to the log. And once it starts to work, it doesn't take that much time. I mean, at this point, it's already done. So in a matter of maybe 5-10 minutes, it's already looked at the images, determined the new naming convention, it renamed the files, and then it added the files to the log. So you'll see, it is updating the 20 files that have been renamed. And I think it gives it like one more look to see if there are any more entries that it missed. Okay, so it's verified that there are no unprocessed images, and I'm thinking that it's going to wind down now before it's done. This whole process probably took 10 minutes, and you're done. And then when you want to come back, you can just come back to your original. If I add more files and I want to come back and rename them, I can either go into this thread or I can start a new thread that already has the information that it needs. So that's how easy it is. You give it permission to go into a folder, you tell it what to do, and then you let it do its thing. But again, you need to start at the beginning, and the beginning is to figure out what you want it to do. It's no different than if you have an employee or a teammate that you're telling it, do this and let me know when you're done. Same exact thing, and it does it for you. So there it is, CoWork. Give it a try. You know, if you're a little skittish, what you can do is take a couple files and put them into a folder. And then run whatever it is in that folder just to kind of give it a test so that you can, one, see how simple it is to do, walk through the process so that you can see it ask for permission and make sure that it's doing things the way that you want it to do. It has a conversation with you as it goes through it the first time to make sure that it's doing what you want it to do. And then if something would happen, you've done a test file. You've done a folder with a few files in it, and probably they're duplicates. So if it deletes it or screws it up, it's not a big deal. One thing to remember though is if you tell it to delete a file, it will delete it and it will be gone. What I do if I'm not sure if I'm going to keep a file, I have it put it in an archive file, and then I go from there with the archive file just so I have it for safekeeping or a backup of it. So there you go. Let me know how you do with CoWork. It's really simple. Don't be afraid of it. It will save you a lot of time and energy once you figure out what you want it to do and how you want it to do. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.